Check, mic check, 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Platform Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dex. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to go hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a follow, leave us that 5-star review, and leave any comments in the video, in the audio, questions that you got for the guest, and anybody that you want to see on upcoming shows. Now, before we get started, we got to give a big shout out to Make It Now Media. So DJs, venues, agencies, any sort of graphic design work that you need, whether it's new flyers, logos, EPKs, or anything else, hit up Make It Now Media. They'll get you all taken care of. Use that code PLATFORM, get a little discount too. Now, on this episode, we got a duo of DJs from St. Louis, producers too. They've been putting out edits and remixes that you can hear on SoundCloud, bunch of different record pools all over, from Club Killers to Headliner Music Club. We're sitting here with Robs and Charles today. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to have you
Doing
guys
good, bro.
here.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah, really excited.
Absolutely.
We love Nashville and, especially your podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, man. I know that you guys have watched episodes, listened to episodes. You guys have hit me up about it. So
I'm a fan, man. I really am a fan.
Yeah. When we were talking the other day and you said, hey, you want to do a pod? We were like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
No, I always try to. I mean, we get so many people into Nashville where it's like, fuck, dude, while they're here, like, try and get them on here. Just get that extra story out from everybody else.
100%.
It's like so many DJs are so similar, but everybody's got a different way that they came up, a different story of like how they got into music and just how they've gotten to where they are now. Obviously, with you guys being a duo, just playing at Barstool last night, playing there previously the other time too. You guys have kind of built up your following where you guys are touring all over in a bunch of different states too. So we're going to get into a lot of things today, from how you guys got started, the differences of playing as a duo versus as a solo DJ or artist too, how you guys are getting into these other markets and tapping into different venues in different cities, and just a lot of the production stuff that you guys are doing, because obviously putting out those edits and remixes is a major way to make that jump to the next level. But before we get started, man, let these listeners know who each of you are, where you guys are from, how you got into the industry, and just give us a little fun fact. You know?
Start. Yeah.
For sure. So I'm Charles, by the way. A lot of people,
A lot of people say, hey, what's up, Rob? Like, oh, I'm not Rob.
I get a lot of people call me Ross, but yeah, I'm Charles. So yeah, I'm from Panama, and I've been DJing for like close to 13 years almost now.
Okay.
And I did have my solo project back home in Panama, and when I first moved to St. Louis, always been an open format DJ. When I used to live back home, I used to kind of like cater more obviously towards like the Latino and they call it like open format crossover back home.
Okay.
So when I first moved to St. Louis, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of like those Latino DJs, and they kind of welcomed me in. But as you go into like this market, especially in a small city like St. Louis, for me as a DJ, I kind of took a different route. I went in the route of like the open format, the more American way. Let's just say that.
Okay.
English music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 13 years going in. Met Robs about 5 years ago. I used to throw parties, and we kind of click. It was a good click. We'll tell you a story in a little bit of kind of like how it all went down.
Yeah.
But it's a funny story too.
Yeah. Well, I'm Robs.
Yeah.
No R-O-B, R-O-P-S. We get a lot, sometimes they brought up bottles and it says R-O-B-S or R-O-B.
Yeah.
I'm
You're like,
Bring the
Robs?
sun.
Who the fuck is Robs?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to know this. I'm kidding.
It's the accent clicks in and people are like, is he saying Robs? Yeah.
I know. But no, anyway, I'm from Lima, Peru.
Okay.
And
The capital, I know that.
Yes.
I learned in school.
Hey, there we go. That's all you need to know for now. But yeah, no, I've been in the U.S. since 2016.
Okay.
So I came for college here in St. Louis, in Lindenwood University. And yeah, I started DJing 2018.
Okay.
2018, I went to a festival and I was talking to you about it. I was featured back to back Chris Lake, and man, I just fell in love with that. I was like, oh, it was like 5:30 a.m. They were closing down ADC Las Vegas, and I was like, oh, I think I want to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went back home, took some classes, and then I became a DJ, just doing basement parties for a while first. But then we met, and everything actually started going more in the right direction. Right.
Were you into like music at all prior? I mean, obviously,
So
like you're going to a festival, like.
I love house music.
Okay.
I love house music. That's how I actually started. I started doing more house music, and I was doing some mashups. Like I was playing a couple of mashups just to keep the people going.
Mm-hmm.
But I was more into electronic, EDM, mostly house. And then once I got to the US, that's when hip hop was introduced to me. I didn't used to hear a single hip hop song until 2016, 2017. Actually, when we started the duo, funny thing, I was an open format and we were doing open format shows.
Yeah.
I had to tell him, like, our first show was like in Orlando. Like our first out of town show was in Orlando. Lost a bunch of money in that flight. But we took a gig. It was at Tin Roof, Orlando.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember he didn't have one single hip hop song. His USB.
It was just mashups, edits, house, EDM.
I would like point at the song and let's say, no, man, don't play that one. Play this one.
Yeah.
And he would like mix it.
Yeah.
But come a long way for sure.
Yeah, no. I always like electronic, and when I was doing my solo stuff, I was just doing high energy mashups, and that's it. And then when we met, he actually taught me a little bit of, hey, we need to play a little more hip hop. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it took me a lot of time to like sit down and actually break down, okay, this is what works, this is what doesn't. And just by playing together, I was able to see him, how he was doing some more of the open format stuff, and I actually enjoyed that more than they're just doing house music now. Yeah. It's more fun.
Your probably entire library is all 125 and up.
I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
I didn't have a single one below 125.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas then it's like, all right, bro, we got to get you set with all this.
It happened. I mean, for me, it was also a transition coming from Panama. In Panama, hip hop is more like those are like the fillers. Like you don't play a lot of hip hop in Panama. You're gonna play mostly like reggaeton and like local artists, which is also kind of like reggaeton, but like maybe like a subgenre of reggaeton. You do play EDM and all that stuff, but like it's a very tropical place. I'm pretty sure anywhere from once you hit Mexico down to like South America, you're gonna get that vibe. Like you're not gonna play a lot of hip hop. So when I moved here, I had to learn. I had to like go out. I always was a follower. Like when I was back home, I always like American music. I like hip hop and all that. So I've been following, all the big open format like Bitbreaker. I've been following Bitbreaker, man, since like probably like 2013 or something like that, 12. So I kind of knew what the open format was, but obviously not how to like run an entire night on a venue, what to play, how to play it. So moving here, it was definitely I had to learn, and I kind of learned quick though. I mean, you kind of do,
Especially if you're like going out and you're like going to check out venues and going to listen to DJs, like that's the quickest way that I think a lot of like the newer guys, you can pick stuff up where you're like, oh fuck, like this is how he's navigating from going from 128 down to 100, down to 65, down to like up to 75, and just kind of dip in between those different tempos and the different genres where you can get into everything. Where it's like you might not have thought, like there's so many different creative ways to navigate a set where you listen to another DJ and you're like, fuck, like I never thought about going from this song to this or whatever it's gonna be. But yeah, that's the vibe in Panama. Like what were you listening to in Peru? What's the music vibe?
It's Latin. It's a lot of like reggaeton, but then when you get a little later in the night, it's called Latin pop. It's more like a dancing pop style.
It's like 128 pop. Or in
so
Spanish.
Basically, like you've seen salsa. How people like. So some of the moves are similar, but the beat is not like that. Like it's more like danceable. So and a lot of like sing-alongs at the end of the night.
Okay.
But it's all Latin. Literally, when they play electronic music in the club,
it's still more Latin vocals.
No, really. It's just to send people to the bar.
That's when you go to the restroom. or like go smoke a cigarette or something. They literally
basically, it's like restroom music. It's like, okay, go to a bathroom, go get a drink. And then literally they just go up for, I'm not kidding you, 5 minutes. And they can list the 5 songs that they put. Every time, same songs.
Yeah.
And then, boop.
It's kind of like that.
That's literally just your room flippers every time.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And so, I didn't have that much exposure to more like American music or what we play here. So I used to go out a lot in college. So I got to see what it looked like. But then once we met and started doing the duo, and he was kind of showing me, okay, these songs are good for this type of rooms. These songs don't, and I just really put the work on. Okay, we need to start mixing quicker because sometimes the crowd gets bored, or sometimes you need to let that song play a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think I learned quick. You could say.
No, yeah, I mean,
I learned pretty quick.
He definitely has. There's DJs that I know way before him who probably eats them alive now playing like that.
Now I can even like he's been sick sometimes, or he couldn't make it to a couple gigs, and I run the whole night.
I run the whole night.
I go up, down, rock, pop, hip hop, throwbacks, and I actually like the throwbacks a lot.
Yeah.
I like that. He doesn't like it as much as me, but that pop throwback, like 110 to 120 BPM.
The holla back girl, man.
Man, you start with that, then you go up, and it's just great.
So how many people think that you guys are brothers?
A lot. even yesterday, man. Some of
like 5 people yesterday asked me that.
While you guys are in the middle of the set, or when you're like started walking around?
Right before, right in the middle, and right after.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, guys, like, so you're brothers, right? Like, no. I mean, I didn't know we look alike, but I guess a lot of people think about that.
Yeah. I just always like looked at your Instagram and stuff. I'm like, I wonder how many people think that they're fucking brothers.
Yeah,
saying this shit on the show.
A lot of people.
A lot of people. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it, man. How did you guys? I mean, obviously, both coming from completely different countries.
Yes.
You both ended up in St. Louis, and then somehow end up meeting each other, where you have like somewhat of a similar story, like both coming from South American, like Latin countries, moving to St. Louis. Like, how did you guys end up meeting? How does that happen?
So I had my solo project. I used to be DJ Charles G.
Mm-hmm.
And I got booked for Memorial Day weekend. So I met him in parties. Like I was throwing parties, like Latin events.
Yeah.
And I remember
he booked me a couple of times. We just met literally. Actually, one time I think you were taking pictures one day.
I used to do, I used to do that. When I went on my job, I was telling you off camera, when my job told me that I couldn't DJ, I started doing videography.
Okay.
For DJs, because I was like, man, I know how to do Premiere Pro and all that. So I was like, man, this is going to be easy for me because I know what they want. But
coming from a DJ standpoint, you're like, I know the shots that they want.
Exactly. Yeah. So
they booked me to open, and then I was opening, and he was doing the content, and we met because I knew he was a DJ.
Yeah.
So we met. Hey, what's up, man? Blah blah blah. And I mean, it was just super friendly, normal, like nothing crazy.
But then it just becomes natural to like.
Oh yeah, I mean,
let's work together,
Yeah.
It's kind of like I took his number, we chatted, follow each other on Instagram, and then again, like probably like honestly like a year passed, and I got booked for Memorial Day weekend at this venue, Europe nightclub in St. Louis, and from a lot of people don't know this, but like Memorial Day weekend, you're starting the summer, so everyone goes to Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
So the seat is kind of empty. Like
no
venues are struck that day specifically, and the booker was like, "Yeah, you want to play Friday and Saturday?" And I was like, "All night, like Friday and Saturday, on both nights are gonna be like off." I was like, "Sure, man, let's do it." I mean, I took the gig. So I was like, "I'm gonna hit him up to see if he wants, if he's off, if he wants to play with me." So my USB actually failed that night and didn't export. Yeah, because I was using control. I wasn't playing. I used to use Serato back in the day. Like I used to do my controller Serato or CD Jason Serato, either way. But I had my laptop before. It wasn't until we started to do obviously that we moved into like sticks.
Yeah, now you're a stick boy.
Yeah,
yes, we
but and it was because of this. It was literally because of this because I exported. I think I took it out too early when like ejecting it.
Yeah.
And it only passed like 2 crates. And then for some reason this USB it was like one of those survivors USB.
Yeah.
And it was taking forever to load.
Super slow.
I was trying to like pass the music on the venue.
Oh, from the CDJs it was slow?
No, from my laptop.
To export literally, you know how usually you export like 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Man, I'm talking like hours.
To do a couple hundred tracks?
Yeah.
So I started playing.
Weird.
Yeah, I started playing with the 2 crates that I have, which they were alright, the 2 crates, but I was like, I'm not gonna be able to go to 3:30 in the morning with this. So then I told he was gonna play with me. He was already there. So I was like,
I was gonna do it alone, just myself.
Yeah.
We're gonna like trade off like that.
He started playing, and I'm going, hey, do you want to go just back to back? That way we can,
can use his music.
Yeah, I could use his, or not even that. I can use his music to push the night off till 3 a.m.
Like one me, one him.
But also then like if your shit crashes or something, then you still have
just
him
push.
too.
Yeah, you link it. Yeah. So believe it or not, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but like, I used to have a different DJ duo back home, so I know what having a duo in Panama was like. This was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I done plenty of back-to-backs of my life, like back 3-backs, all that. But whenever we played, I never played with him in my life.
Yeah.
I never did a back-to-back before. Never. I never played with anyone else.
The whole staff was just like, by the way, the night was all right. It was like, 80, 90 people there.
Yeah.
They all stayed till 3 a.m. We rocked the room.
We were jumping like all 128, man.
Crazy. Yeah. Crazy 128.
Back there, like 3 years ago, I mean, I don't know how it was other parts in the U.S., but in St. Louis, those mashups with house and high energy, they were not that, like, DJs were not playing that stuff that much.
Yeah.
They were just playing normal open format, go up, booja, all of that stuff.
It's a lot of trap and twerk.
Yes.
Back then.
So, like, it was a little different when I started playing that. Well, we started playing that night. Mans were like, oh, like, this is cool. And people liked it.
I told him on the spot, I was like, man, like halfway through the set, it was like 1:30 in the morning, like drinks already, we're already drinking. And then I kind of just go like, hey man, we should do a DJ duo. And then I was like, yeah, man, we should, I'm going to think of a name before 3 a.m. I'll think about it. And then I get on the car and I go, yeah, man, I think, I'm Charles, you're Robs. Like, what do we do? Charles and Robs. And I was like, yeah, that sucks, man. It sounds really bad. I was like, let's just
flipping it.
I was like, I'm gonna get humble. Like, let's just flip it, Robs and Charles.
Yeah.
My wife, till the day, she goes, why you didn't do Charles and Robs? Like, man, you gotta get humble.
It does sound better though, Robs and Charles instead of Charles.
Weird, right? It just goes together. And
Which you don't really like think about it, but I'm like, now I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, if you guys were Charles and Robs, it just doesn't like roll off the tongue the same.
Right, it's more like you stop. And it's like just Robs and Charles. It just goes. Yeah. So that's how we started, after that.
The next day, man, right away.
Next day, my friend, I used to have a friend from college, one of my best buddies. He had a professional camera. So he recorded some good clips. We did an introduction video, Robs and Charles, boom, boom. And that's how it started.
He had a major college. That's another thing. So I was big in the kind of like open format and like the Latino scene in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. And I was playing for like colleges and stuff like that. But I never worry about like creating a following or anything like that. Because I just wanted to get booked and get paid.
Yeah.
He was still in college. So for him, I remember people were telling him like, oh, don't do that deal with Charles. Like, he's just using it because you have a following. He's just using you. And he was like, I think we both are using each other because I'm not DJing the rooms that he's playing. So we're bringing a duo with the following to a room that I open the door. So we kind of complement each other with what we had on the moment,
Yeah.
Especially when you're new, that you don't have, you really have nothing, no content, no mixes, no anything.
We used to just say, hey, like if you can book us, we can bring you 100 people. Like I used to have a lot, my friends, they used to be like really good with me. They helped me a lot to promote. I had a lot of like, you can say popular friends at school. And they'll always like my part. I mean, I used to do basement parties all the time. Yeah. So literally when I started playing in clubs or bars,
they'd all come out to those then too. Yeah.
And that was like an open door for us. Like, hey, if you book us, I don't know about the money because we were just starting, but if you book us, we can bring X amount of people. Mm-hmm. And that's how basically we started getting our name in St. Louis at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys both have been obviously working on edits and remixes now. Like, what's the creative process look like for you as a duo versus just like being able to work on it whenever you want as a solo artist, where you can just sit down in your house, start grinding, working on stuff? Like, are you guys getting together and just like sitting down and kind of knocking out like studio session, or is it just like bouncing ideas off each other?
So it depends.
Yeah.
The problem is I have a full-time job. Okay. So I work basically 4 or 5 days a week, and I work for a lot of hours. So basically we don't have much time to get together. So sometimes, we're just texting and it's like, hey, what do you think about this song? It's like, oh yeah, that song that looks good. Can you find me the vocals? You find the vocals. Okay, what we can do about it? We can start with a little intro and then we can put this. We can probably flip the drop. So basically we talk a lot about it.
I have more of the time during the day.
Yes.
I am a full-time DJ, so I have more of the time during the day to like, okay, so what song could we really make an edit that is needed? Mm-hmm. Like I said, I don't really like the throwbacks, but like I go through like old songs and I go
popular right now.
Yeah, super popular. I mean, I love it because it works. I mean, now it really works.
Yeah.
Back then it really didn't hit that hard, but that's what I do. I mean, I kind of just look through. We could do this, we could do that. A lot of times, he really surprises me though. like we'll be playing, he'll play an edit, and I go, whose is that? He goes, yeah, I made it last night. He didn't tell me. I was like, oh, nice, man. Okay, it's a DJ Rob's edit. Okay,
I've been liking a lot doing 100 or 105 BPM songs and put it up to 128, 130.
They work great.
And just put it like really high energy. I like stuff like one of my favorite was Closer.
Yeah.
So I've been always like that song, and then we were just talking, and it's like, what song can it be? And then I realized, oh, we feel so close. And I went up, and I think it sounds beautifully. It's my favorite mashup that we've done.
By the Chainsmokers.
Chainsmoker from Feel So Close.
Not a lot of people did an edit from that one either. We kind of looked it up. It was because it's like a 95 BPM song. So that's he always plays that one. That's like his hidden gem, right?
But that's such a familiar track too, where it's like everybody fucking knows that song. Where it's like, then you get that at a higher tempo too, a little bit more energy for people. They still all know the vocals, so you're gonna get the reaction of people singing those vocals too. So that's one that definitely works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we're liking a lot. Doing more edits of songs that are not there much. That's what we've been trying, especially with he has a good searching process, and he gets like these instrumentals. I don't know how he even gets them from like 2011 Odeon, like stuff like that. And I'm like, man, what is this drop? Like, this shit is good.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, a lot of times like I look what like other editors are doing, and that's kind of like how I get my ideas, because like a lot of times I hear a drop, I'm going, I never heard that drop. And a lot of people don't think this. Like when you hear a mashup, like they hear, like if you hear a Post Malone mashup, you're hearing the Post Malone vocal playing out. And then when the drop hits, if it's a cool drop, a lot of the time, like a regular person, they're not thinking like, oh, what's the name of the drop? Like they already heard, Post Malone singing. That's why they had it in their head. I'm the other way. I kind of look for the drop. Yeah. So I look like really cool drops. And so I look for like anything from like 2010, like all those big rooms, like feel good, like festival edits and stuff like that. And then the hardest part is gonna get it in high, like get the instrumental. Let's just say that.
And get it high enough quality.
You can get AI, you can do all that. Like there is all this stemverter and all that. Like nowadays it's super easy to like remove something like a vocal or something. But finding them, I take my time. Like I take my time trying to find cool drops. Yeah. So I guess the edits could stand a little bit.
Did you guys, so like I know you went to school. Did you go to school for something that was music oriented?
Yes.
Okay.
So for school I did business and I did acting. So that was my I know. It's completely different. I just came from business.
Horrible actor, just want to say that.
He can't see me act. He thinks just because, bro, try to do this when I'm recording you. It's no.
You're giving him direction. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man.
I'm more of a director. Let's say that. I did acting, and then my last 2 years I did directing. But when I started to DJ, I had no clue. Yeah. And I had 3 months off for summer, so I went back home to Peru, and there was this academy, Dirty Bits, that's the name. And I took a 2-month course. It was supposed to be 3 months, but I was able to do 2 months. And with CDJs, they told me sticks, CDJs, beat match, ear, no visuals, nothing. And that's how I started to learn how to DJ. And then also I got some private lessons for production. Yeah. And that's how I got to learn everything at the beginning. Of course, I wasn't an expert. I'm still not an expert. Like especially doing songs or doing remixes take me long because I don't have also that much time to do. Yeah. But I'm really familiar with Ableton. I'm quick with it just because I was able to go to school for that a little bit. Yeah.
Where then like a lot of times are you working on like the arrangement of stuff where you're like, hey, this is gonna be what's gonna work? Like
I think just I didn't say this at the beginning, I think I missed it. I work radio in Panama. I did like 3 years of radio. I used to work for one of the biggest radio stations in Panama called Los 40 Principales. Which is like a top 40 radio. That's how I always been involved with like American music. You kind of hear everything you hear on the radio nowadays. That's kind of like what the format of that radio station was. I learned a lot about music on radio and how to like program and all that. And for me, I think it's just, I think most of the edits come really natural. Like I hear a song, like I know you're gonna ask us about this, like the new Post Malone record, Nosedive. I found the instrumental for. We did a mashup. We played it last night on the spot. Like I found that within 5 minutes. Just heard it, and I was like, I think this will go perfect with this. Now I do want to say the whole back end of the production. That's him.
Yeah.
I have a lot of the ideas and all that. I'm still learning. He's teaching me and all that. I just think he has he's Ableton is like fully loaded.
Yeah.
Man, this guy can really like, my Ableton is like the stock.
Yeah.
Like I gotta figure, I'll have like the glue compressor.
All the plugins, all
like,
that kind of shit,
it's, I really gotta like really maybe learn a little bit more and then spend some money. So I can get
for us, it was more, for me, that now, like, I don't know if you noticed, but that past year, we've been doing more edits.
Yeah. No, you guys have been fucking sending them over too. Like where it's like, I feel like you guys are doing
we do
couple
one
a week. Like
we're doing. We have this thing. We launched our Patreon, by the way.
Okay.
It's free.
It's good stuff to plug on the pod.
It's free, and we're just putting stuff that we're not gonna send to pools,
record pools.
It's just something that we like to do, and for me was big. I was like trying to get the vocals right. I like to sound pretty good, and I wasn't that happy with how I was processing vocals in the past, and I found this like processing that works perfectly for all my vocals, and I think they're like sounding like the right way now.
Really just nailed it in.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It really did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Patreon every Wednesday, by the way.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday, and also like a lot of these record pools won't take some songs. You know, like it's
if it's
Sony, and I think Universal they do that as well. But so I can't we did a really good edit for like the Dumb Dollar Girls, and we did it with Hoosier Too Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that's Sony, so that didn't go in any record pool. And I thought that's one of my favorite edits that we done. So I was like, man, so I sent that one to like you and like everybody like individually. But I think it would be cool to start a Patreon. It's a whole grind though. Patreon it's an whole it's like a different social media.
Yeah.
So you really got to build it up. And like right now, I think we have like 10 DJs.
I mean, it's definitely hard to build a following on there, and especially like with something like Patreon, you have to be consistent with it too. Where it's like if people are, especially if it's free, it's a little bit easier, and people will just kind of stay on it. But like to have paid subscribers, you need consistency and stuff going out that makes it worth it for them 100%. To subscribe.
I agree.
So it's definitely harder that way. But yeah, doing stuff with music, like I've talked about it with Silver on here, where the Sony part is something that is helpful for a lot of the DJs, where it's like you literally can't get that music on record pools. So if you can find somebody doing a lot of the edits for those Sony artists, then that's valuable. It's valuable to the DJs for 100%. Them to be able to find those edits that they can't get on a record pool. You can't find like a good intro edit or something like that on like a SoundCloud because they're not just going to put it out.
Oh no.
So that's definitely something that I would find as helpful and useful. Yeah. Like when you guys are making those edits and remixes, are you guys thinking about a lot of like what's going to work in your sets and how you guys play, or like, hey, I know that this is going to work for a lot of DJs?
I think for both.
Okay.
I think for both, yeah.
Both. Sometimes it's more for us.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's more for just people in general. Like there's some songs even that I don't like or he doesn't like, and we've done edits.
But you know that it'll work for the general public.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yes. So we try to think more about what can work in a club, what can work in a bar and a club.
Yeah.
Something more like everyone can use and it's more friendly like that.
Yeah.
That's what we've been thinking about. We don't go that hard. I know there's some edits that are super hard. He likes them more than me. He likes that like super high.
I think everybody has to have their sound. I think you spoke with Cases about like having their sound, and even though he started liking, like he said he loves house music, I always been more to I like Martin Garrix.
Okay.
So go from Fisher to Martin Garrix, totally different.
Yeah.
But you saw it last night. I like to get on the mic, hype the people up. I like I like energy. I love the energy. So for me, it's I love to get big room. I love the good era of the progressive house. Alesso back in the day and all that. Those are times that I think they're coming back actually.
Yeah.
I think all the tech house and tech house and techno and all that, I think they kind of burned out for a little bit. That's still playable, but I just don't think it's hitting as hard anymore in the venues as throwbacks with a little bit of more like big room energy.
Yeah.
At least that's my opinion. I think it's coming back like that.
We'll see, man. It's music's, I feel like, changing fucking all the time too. And
All
it just
the time.
depends on like
Always up and down. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It also depends on the market too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
here it's completely different than anything else that we've seen.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, facts.
That's
For
awesome.
Sure. That's another thing.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Yeah, I know you guys actually got time yesterday to go and walk around and go check out some spots on
yes,
Broadway too.
yes.
So
Like
that's
it's
awesome.
busy. It's just busy. Like literally for us yesterday, we couldn't find anywhere to eat.
Because
We
it's
walked,
that,
bro.
Yeah.
We walked for like 40 minutes.
Went to like 10
Well, that's
different
why,
places.
like when you guys came in, like I sent you guys a list of restaurants and stuff like that. But it's like, it's hard, especially on a weekend, because if you don't have a reservation at the majority of spots, there is so many people in town.
They said, "Oh, you can go to the bar."
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But the bar is full.
Yeah, so you can't even sit in. We're like, I'm not
can't
gonna
even stand
fucking
on the bar.
stand up and eat. Yeah,
Yeah, I think next time we'll have to like make a reservation.
Yeah.
we really want to go to the Morgan Wallen place.
Yeah.
Oh man, the line was like
The line
$3.
was-
Like
Yeah.
And what time was that at? Like 7?
7 p.m.
it's just
Yeah.
like,
It's
man,
late.
it was
that's
so
early for
packed.
us. You know, we're used to more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's early, and you still don't even want to wait in line that long at a fucking 7 o'clock. Where you think at 7 o'clock you'd just be able to get in.
Man, I was like embarrassed.
Exactly.
I told him, I was like, man, go to the front of the line. I'm just gonna stand over here with myself, and you ask if we have to do that line to eat.
To eat.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was just.
Everybody's
for
like
the-
looking at him.
I went like, hey, you know, it's just for the food. Like, oh no, same line. You can just go upstairs after.
And it's a 6th floor spot, so it's like,
It's so
bro, you
packed.
have
I didn't
so
get it. I was
much
like, man.
room, and your capacity is so high, and you still have that big of a line too, which is crazy.
what
And
the
people
name-
wait.
that's what the
People
name
wait.
does,
Like,
man.
When we were driving,
That's what the name does, man. If you got an
I feel like that's what they're
artist name-
doing here in Nashville. Like a lot of people buy a building, put a business, and they just put
One of the
Jason
artist
Aldean,
names,
Morgan
yep.
Wallen, and I think I saw a TikTok that they
Luke Combs is opening up soon.
like something
yeah.
like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
Garth Brooks
something like
opened within the past year. Yeah, there's a bunch.
it's only gonna get bigger.
100%. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, let's talk about some stuff like as a duo and booking yourself out. Like, what's one of the biggest difficulties as a duo of DJs versus like the solo stuff that you guys have done?
For duo, I think besides working together, we're really good friends.
Yeah.
So we get along pretty well. You know, we talk about things, and most of the time we agree in everything. And even if we don't, you know, we are good at talking, and we basically always go in the same route.
Yeah.
I think the most difficult part is just because we are a duo and we have 2 different families, 2 different lives, just getting together and working on something together besides the club scene, just like creating content or doing edits, doing stuff together. That's the hardest part, I think. That's why I feel like we cannot sit down as much as we would like to.
Because you have schedules outside of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Gotcha.
I handle all the bookings for us.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's why I'm a full-time DJ and I guess full-time manager as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I handle invoices, contracts, all that for us. And I think the hardest part is a lot of times, like if I want to get a hold of him, man, his wife
work,
can't get his wife can't get a hold. Like she can't get a hold of him, and she know. Like everybody's like, oh yeah, I mean that's like people go like I have friends that we talk to, and they're like, hey, do you know like what's the best time that I can give Robs a call? Like I need to talk to him
10
about
p.m.
something, and I go, look, man, just call him Friday and Saturday, like around 9, where we might be driving to the
Before
venue.
you get on the set. Yeah.
And if he doesn't answer, you're dumb, and you have to wait till next week. Like
I feel
you have to wait
horrible.
7 business days.
The thing is, I don't know. Most of the people don't know, but I coach tennis, and
Okay.
so that's my regular 9. You can say 9 to 5, but
Tennis is hard as fuck.
And by the way, horrible actor, but
Good tennis player.
he was like very highly ranked in Peru.
Yeah.
that was my life. Like before traveling, now I used to travel as a tennis player.
Really?
I used to travel a lot alone, or with my tennis coach. I went basically all South America, play all the junior tournaments, play a couple professional tournaments, and then that's how I started. Like, oh, I want to come to the U.S. I got a scholarship to play tennis.
Okay.
At school, and yeah, so basically when I graduated, I got married. I have a kid. She's 2, best thing in my life.
Yeah.
But especially just graduating from college, I need to make money. So it's like DJ. We get paid pretty well, but it's not enough to pay everything. So
And that's the struggle right there. That's a good way to say it. Like the hardest part also, like for me, like handling like as a DJ duo, it's not the same to ask for a gig as an individual
Yeah.
than when you ask for as a DJ duo. because when we started, I would say like I had all these gigs lined up already. I remember we closed down for Morgan Page.
I wish it was Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, no.
It would have
I
been
wish. We closed for Morgan Page on New Year's Eve. We had it lined up. I already spoke with the booker, but it was for me. Like I had the email. Like she gave me a list of DJs, and then I kind of said, "Hey, I just started this DJ duo." And every single gig that I had to like started saying, "Hey, so I started a DJ duo with my best friend. It's called Robson Charles. Like, can we just transition my gigs into that?" And they were like, "Oh, we don't really need 2 DJs." And I was like, "No, you're getting 1 DJ. We're a DJ duo." It's like, so how does that work? I was like, so yeah, we're gonna have DJ. So imagine together. Trying to explain to a civilian like, oh yeah, I mean but can't you play by yourself? I was like. And at the beginning it was like, hey, you don't really have to worry about it. I mean, we're still gonna get paid the same. Like, I mean, we're gonna kill it like even more. So it was kind of like hard at the beginning explaining them to people that didn't. It's not a normal thing, especially in a small market like St. Louis. There is I don't think there is another DJ duo.
No, I don't think
St. Louis, yeah.
I don't think so. Everyone just
I don't think there is another DJ duo that I could think of. Maybe I'm sorry if there is, but I can't think of another DJ duo. So. Once we got it going, now you don't like the more you learn something, obviously you want to charge a little bit more. That's when it got a little even more trickier because it was like, well, now we have to say, oh, we're bringing this to a table so we get paid more. Mm-hmm. And it came to the point that as booking gigs, it was, and even for out of town, it came to a point that. We lost a lot of opportunities just because I pitched the rate too high, maybe. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times, like I know that I can't pitch. Like I learn now. Like after you get so many no's, like you kind of learn. Like okay, so I gotta be between here and here.
Yeah.
And it's like you said. Like sometimes you make an effort. You do a little bit of sacrifice. You take a pay cut in a gig.
Yeah.
So you can open a door for yourself. Like maybe land a residency. And then you build it up, and then you get paid a little bit more down the line, right?
Yeah.
But for us, it's always been the struggle of like not a lot of people understand or see the value of having a DJ duo.
Well, because even how you just said that too, where you're like trying to explain it to somebody, you're like, no, you still are paying for 1 DJ. That's like the part where I feel like has to be the hardest, because obviously you don't want to get paid the same as a duo. You want to get that rate upped. But then as far as presenting that value for these bookers, for these different venues, that's where the hardest part, I think, has to be. Because, like, obviously as a duo, there's more expenses where if you are traveling, you got to think about paying for 2 flights instead of paying for 1. Or, like, for this, you guys, St. Louis is close enough where it's a 4-hour drive. You guys just drove, which is hundreds and hundreds of dollars that you guys are profiting off of driving instead of booking 2 flights round trip. Mm-hmm. But that's all stuff that you have to think about versus like as a single DJ, you're getting the entire rate, whereas 2 of you are splitting that rate and then having to explain that to a venue of like, hey, we want to up this by $200. And they're like, well, why? Like, why do you guys deserve that money?
Yeah.
And it's then presenting the brand and presenting like what you guys are bringing to it and bringing people out and the energy that you guys can bring. And that's where I think as a duo, you can do a lot more, where it's like somebody can focus on mixing, that other person can be working the mic, hyping up the crowd, walking around in front of the stage, like getting people going, where it's like that can drive the following. It can drive people to stay. It can drive people to go buy those drinks, whatever you guys got to do. You just got to think of a couple more ideas to kind of to get people going and to boost that stock for you. Yeah. Where then that next time around, you can go and be like, hey, we did this last time. You obviously had a better night. This is what we're looking for.
And you literally have 4 eyes. Like you have 2 eyes looking into different directions. So like a lot of times he's going in the zone playing crazy, and my eyes are looking at something different. Like I'm looking bars. I might be looking at the bar getting slow. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, we got to switch it up. We got to bring it down to maybe to hip hop. Sometimes he gets mad at me. He's like, no man, don't go down to hip hop. And I was like, bro, like. Let's do it.
I'm looking around.
I'm looking around. Like, let's do it. And a lot of times, sometimes he will tell me, like, hey, we gotta bring it up. and it's vice versa.
It goes
both ways. Yeah,
I think it's good because we've been learning a lot to read the crowd, and something that we learned a lot at the beginning too was send people to the bar. Because if you go too hard and people are too invested in your set, bar's not making money. So there's some songs that we know that this is still kind of like a banger, considered a banger, but maybe they'll go get a drink, and the bar will make more money. So I think getting that balance between the both of us, it's a little bit easier to be seeing these things through the whole night.
Yeah. Are you guys ever still doing like individual stuff now, or is it mostly just all Rops and Charles?
Private events sometimes.
Yes.
Private events, like I'll, and even then, like I'll try to.
We do it together.
We'll try to do it together, but like every now and then, like if especially if it's like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
He's playing tennis.
Yeah, I can't.
I'll do the private event by myself.
Yeah.
But I don't take gigs. And I still sometimes I get asked. I barely use my Instagram as an individual, but I sometimes
I don't even know if I follow your like individual ones.
Right. But I really don't post a lot there. I mean, I handle oral social media.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I don't think I can do mine either. Like, I was like, man, sometimes I'm only thinking about the Rops and Charles because that's my job now. Yeah. Like, I feel like the DJ Charles U1 I might just start posting my regular life, like if I'm going to a date with my wife and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that's handling the social media for us it's let's just say it takes a little bit, man. Yeah. Especially because I don't have one with me, so I don't want to be like those DJ duos like that you only see one face throughout their entire week. Like they only post like you never see the other guy. Right. Like I don't want to be taking selfie videos by myself
and just be the only one.
I'm the only one, and then he shows up like on Saturday.
What's up, guys? I'm here. Yeah, I'm alive.
So yeah.
But yeah, though it's great. I really think we enjoy working together. Yeah. So we like to DJ together, and it's just fun. We're friends, so it's more enjoyable to be a whole night. If it's busy or not busy, just like DJing together. So that's why I think we don't get also personal stuff because we just like working together. So why break that? I think.
I feel weird when I'm on myself.
I know, man. It's weird.
He goes to the restroom a lot.
So used to it. Yeah.
He goes to the restroom a lot because like the high noons and all that.
The high noons get me, especially or if I drink beer, man. Beer is the worst. I'm not kidding.
So he would like leave me up. He would like leave me up there. Like last night. Like peak hour, he left like for like.
I gotta go take a piss. Yeah.
like I gotta go take a piss.
The bathroom was a little busy. I was there for like 7 minutes. I was like, oh.
So I'm like, I mean, I feel kind of like, oh man, I gotta link my USB over here. It's not even linked because I don't even go on the city. We always, I don't know if you noticed, like we're always on the same side. Like I always go to the right, goes to the left. Yeah. Yep. So I'm like, oh man, I gotta open my crates from the scratch. Figure out what I'm gonna play, and then I keep turning around like, when is he coming back? Yeah, like I want to go back to my spot or like.
No, funny stuff. And like 3 weeks, no, a month ago or 2 months ago, we got booked to close this house music. It was like a big show in St. Louis.
It was a rave.
It was a warehouse. Okay. These guys Deep Fake. I don't know if you know Deep Fake.
They're from Detroit.
They're from Detroit. Like they have like white and black painting. Anyway, we were closing for them, and the way they were setting up everything, he had to be in the left, and I had to be in the right.
Two CDJs put together, and then the mixer. And and then there was nothing over here. So it was like...
And he wasn't putting the first song.
They didn't put any CDJs on the right side of it?
They put it after.
It was
weird.
Because one of the guys does the visuals. So he does like... So one of the... It's a duo. Deep Fake is a duo. Yeah. So one of them do like visual work, and the other one DJs. But I guess he likes to DJ side to side.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. And, I was in the right and he was in the left. I'm not kidding you, for like 5 minutes, I couldn't move. I was like, bro, it feels weird being in the right.
I couldn't figure it out.
We figured out a way and we flipped and then we were back in business. Yeah. It was just a funny little story there.
So when it comes to like, obviously I think like, making the edits, making the remixes is another way to kind of boost your stock and your value when you're going to these bookers where it's like, all right, cool. We have X amount of followers from putting out remixes and edits on SoundCloud, or these DJs we know we can network with in this market because they play our edits, they play our remixes. But other than that kind of stuff, or even with that kind of stuff, how do you guys go about presenting that value to these venues when you are pitching, booking at a new market?
I think for me, since I mean that that's what I do all day.
Yeah.
Kind of like try to like connect with as many. I try to connect with as many new DJs as I can. I try to meet at least 3 new DJs a week and like build a relationship, and like so they know it's not just a follow on Instagram. You know what I mean? I think that's the most important part. Like I think the more people, the more hands you shake, there's
more
gonna sound cliche.
opportunities.
Yeah, the more your network is your net worth. Like people say that all the time.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I think when it comes to bookers, unless the booker is or a talent buyer is a DJ, and he knows what an edit is and all that, I probably won't talk a lot about like, I make edits for Club Killers, because he probably won't even know what Club Killers is.
Yep.
But what we try to be, and we could do better. I mean, I'm trying to like see, we try to like scale our social media a little bit more, make it look more professional. And I always tell him, like, since day one, like I follow I've always been a follower of like Rick Wonder, Crespo. So what are they doing? Like, how are they getting into those rooms?
Trying to emulate that.
Yeah, and do it with our, not copying, do it in our own style, obviously. We can't, I told him, I was like, even if we try, like, we can't be the Rick Wonders or Crespo. We're both, like, first of all, we're Latinos, man. Like, we don't, I was like, we gotta figure out how to, like, break into those markets, being our own. And I think that's, when I talk to bookers, a lot of people think, especially in St. Louis, at the beginning, I don't know if they still do or not. I think once we started playing like venues like Barstool, and maybe like in DC or Indianapolis, they okay, this is legit. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people were thinking like, oh, maybe these guys are playing for free. How are they breaking into this? And how they playing Barstool in Nashville? So to me, funny story. I mean, this is just so you guys know, like the actual hustle behind like getting a booking at a venue for Robson Charles. I emailed 52 times Mike, the guy who does the bookings for Barstool. And by the way, not just me. Like, we email back and forward. I'm not like that.
Like 52 unread emails.
No, not like that. Not like that.
Let's be honest, mostly him.
Yeah. No. I mean, we had a. It was just going back and forward. I mean, but nothing. It was almost impossible, man. Like, it was always packed. Like everything is booked. This and that, but I kept going, and then follow him on Instagram. I figure out when his birthday was. When it was his birthday, I would say, "Hey man, happy birthday! Hope it's a great." You gotta put yourself out there in a way that they see you, like you're constantly seeing your name. Robson Charles is constantly there. You gotta let them know that you really want it.
Yeah.
And then I work. A lot of people don't know this, but like my background before becoming a DJ, I have like 12 years of experience in sales, and marketing. And I guess sales marketing.
So it's what you can utilize when you're pitching yourself.
I learned a lot on my 9-to-5 jobs, the corporate life. On like I used to talk to like high executives, and I learned a lot about the follow up. Like I had to the DJ game and especially going in 2024, 2025, it's gonna get more competitive. You have relationships, and you gotta learn not to send emails. You got to learn how to follow up.
Yeah.
You got to get creative on the follow-ups. Like, you really do. Like, Mike, for example, like I told you, man, it was like 1 year we email each other. And
so basically since they've been open then.
Since they've been open, yeah. And yeah, exactly. That's literally it. Like, I saw the venue open, and I started right away. Because I was like, I'm going to try to be one of the first DJs in. Yeah. Obviously, that didn't work. But I remember, I told him, I was like, man, he's not answering. But he was replying back, but he was just, everything was negative. Like, no. And then one day, man, like, I mean, I stay connected. Like, you will comment on Instagram. Oh, that's cool. Like, ask him stuff. Like, just really network more than just, I want a gig.
Yeah, because I feel like that's got to be like one of the things where you have to think about, where it's like, how do I make this so it is like a genuine interaction and not just like me being like fake and messaging him.
Come on, hire me.
Exactly.
It wasn't like that. So funny story, like the Barstool story is, after like 1 year, a little bit over a year, he emailed me back one day. I remember like
we're sitting down in his living room.
Yeah, and I like look at my phone and I go,
He sent us dates.
I was like, hey, he said, are you available next week?
Yeah.
And I was
It was like that.
which I was like, next week? I was
It
like,
was next week.
Out of town
Cinco
gigs are like booked a month out, maybe
Yeah.
sometimes 2. So I was like, next week. I was like, we had a gig in St. Louis. Like he didn't I had to like move the whole thing. I think I even canceled a gig. I was like, we're going to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
We booked all this crazy. We actually had a gig in DC
the
day before.
Yeah.
And we already had the flight back booked. Like it was St. Louis, DC, St.
back to
Louis.
St. Louis.
We had to buy another flight
DC
to go
Nashville.
to DC, Nashville, St. Louis, and we didn't get on that flight that we already bought.
Yeah.
So we just didn't get on it. We lost a little bit of money, but it was, we're back now.
Yeah.
It comes back to like you make the sacrifice, you go to the room, you do your job, you kill it. But it was for Cinco de Mayo.
Okay.
It was May 4th going into Cinco de Mayo, which I thought he lined it up perfectly because at midnight I got on the mic and spoke in Spanish.
Yep.
Bunch of Latinos everywhere. It worked out perfectly, but that it comes back to the follow up.
Yeah.
I put myself out there in a way that put ourselves out like the name out there to the point that I'm sure a booking fall through probably like somebody got.
But you're on the mind then because you're
on
present.
the mind.
Yeah.
You're on the mind. If you're not, when I used to work in sales, it was like if you're not top of mind, like if you have a product like and you're not top of mind, like if they're not thinking about you as soon as they need it, like you're missing out.
Yeah.
And they like that's what I think I do a good job when it comes to Robson Charles. Sometimes in the good way and sometimes in the negative way.
Yeah.
I go crazy on Twitter. I think too much. Like I think we made it into like Road Podcast one day as well, and the strategy as well. Like strategy. My buddy Maximo, he was on his podcast and he was like, they asked him about him. He's like, yeah, I just came back from St. Louis, and he goes, were you with your boys Robson Charles? It's like, yeah, I had to mute them on Twitter.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, man, I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan of your podcast. you just told me.
Zach's the homie, man. I've known him for a long time. He's a really good friend.
It was just a funny thing.
Yeah.
And then
you're like, damn, I don't want to be muted by him.
No, it's funny because Maximo was like, no, man, like it wasn't like that. He just edited to make like, bro, you have to say
he said he wasn't like that. He said they literally did that for a clip. Oh, okay, great.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's fine.
That's it. But
you're like, you motherfucker. Yeah. No, I mean, you guys are getting gigs kind of all over now. Where it's like, you guys play Greenlight soon, right?
Yes.
So
in 1 month.
So September 6th. So that actually happened. And again, the follow up, Greenlight, Cole from Greenlight.
Yeah. Was at Barstool.
He was here.
I was messaging him for a year too, just like Mike. And then he was right there making a video that night.
Yeah.
And I keep looking at this guy and I'm like,
where the fuck do I know him?
He looks very familiar, but who the? And then the next day I saw an Instagram story. And I was like, were you at Barstool last night? He goes, yeah, man. And just so you know, like, you have a date at Greenlight now. And I was just
from hearing you guys at Barstool.
Yeah, I landed the next day. We got the gig for Greenlight.
That was crazy.
So I was like, those $150 that you lost for that flight, you didn't lose them.
Yeah, because now you just made it up with
it's
another
an investment.
gig.
It's an investment.
Well, even I think of it as like trying to break in for new markets for you, and then especially like as the duo part where it's like maybe some of these venues don't want to up that rate to where you guys want it to be to compensate you better as a duo. You still look at it as like, all right, cool. Like we might take a couple $100 less to go play this new venue where this is what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, you guys can take that couple $100 less to go play this new venue for the first time and make that impression, turn that into a monthly residency or wherever it's going to be. Maybe it's not even monthly, maybe it's a quarter, where it's still like now you have set money every month or every 3 months or whatever it's going to be.
Absolutely.
And then you're building that network and that following even more in another city to be heard at and be asked to go to other venues or whatever it's going to be too.
That's been like that for like pretty much, not all of them, but like pretty much every out of town gig that we had.
Yeah.
Like our residency in 12 After 12 in DC was the same thing. Messaged the guy for like more than a year, that one. And that guy is just, man.
We love DC.
I guess you're allowed to curse here. That guy, at the beginning, he was just an asshole to us. Like he just didn't want to, this guy, and now, that's my boy.
Yeah.
Like when we go over there, man, he takes care of us. We go to dinner. Like they really take care of us. When the first time I got on the phone with him after like a year, I was like, damn, Jason, you're a real person?
Yeah.
I thought this was like a bot or something
bot
like
that I
that.
just
I was like,
messaged,
like I really thought, so, man, because he was just like, he would always say, let me check the calendar and never get back to me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is just, but again, seriously, like for any up and coming DJ that wants to start traveling, you got to learn how to follow up.
Yeah.
Like I put in my phone, like if I've sent 10 emails today, like 1 week and a half later, I create myself, I got to follow up. And be strategic about it. I also learned new stuff in the DJ world. Like when you're in sales, there's a saying like the more contact that you do, the more likely you're gonna be able to close the deal. Mm-hmm. In the DJ game, it might not be like that because you might come off as crazy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy, like they might just block you, honestly.
I mean, it's the same thing as like you look at it as like touching a customer. Like you got to reach out to them, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's from like managing spots too. You have to do it in the right way because I've managed and booked for nightclubs in Milwaukee, and then obviously have like helped with booking here at Barstool. And now it's to the point where it's like I have a lot of guys just reach out and just like right off the gate are just like, yo, like how can I get in there? And you have to do it the right way where it's like being persistent, I think is one of the bigger things, but doing it in the right way where it's not just like, all right, they're being fake. Exactly. They're just asking me like.
Well, not only that, like, and it's good thing that you mentioned that because I got to give you your props on that. So yes, Mike did email me about Barstool, which I jumped out of my seat and we kind of like, oh wait, we have a gig. It was a big celebration, but until a contract is not signed or until like I don't see a flyer maybe, any deal can fall through. We connected with you like probably like a year before that.
Yeah.
And I mean,
but even prior to that,
it was prior like that. Yeah. So it was like once I told you like, hey, we might be coming to bars. You kind of send them in the message like, hey, you guys talking to Robson Charles? Yeah. So that cosign, just knowing somebody that is already there, like if they can speak good for your like about you, having a cosign with a DJ in that market, it's not always gonna work because sometimes that DJ might not have that kind of pull in a venue. Like it might just really be that DJ and that's it.
Sitting here with her tongue out, yeah.
But definitely having those relationships with those DJs in different markets and just follow up, and you're gonna very very fast realize unless you have like a manager or something like a manager.
It's a lot of work.
You're gonna realize very fast. I tell him a lot of times like you have no idea what I do during the day, and like it's a lot of research too. Like I gotta see like. Because a lot of times it's not just you're just not gonna DM Barstool Nashville like, hey, can I get booked here? Yeah, 50,000 followers. I'm not gonna that's gonna get lost in spams. Like, and you're never gonna get a hold of the head. Never. So like, who's at the top? Who actually is taking care of business? So it's a lot of follow up, man. It's you're gonna realize very fast that you're working almost in sales. Yeah, and then. Once you close the deal, then you get the DJ.
And that's where the connections come in too, where it's like if you know the DJs in that market and you know like, hey, is there any way that you can connect me with who's doing the booking here? Like who's the entertainment director? Who's the manager here? Someone that you can reach out to them directly as opposed to trying to go through like their Instagram page. Right. So I feel like even if somebody's running that Instagram page and they don't know you as a DJ, they're just gonna be like, oh, this fucking guy wants to DJ. Yeah, exactly. And never answer it too, where that's another part that I think a lot of these people that are trying to get booked in other markets need to look at too. But that networking part of knowing those other DJs who can vouch for you, I feel like sometimes is bigger than any of like your following or anything like that, where if they're like, you get a cosign from somebody who plays here all the time. Like if I were to go to Miami and get a cosign from Cases or Crespo or whoever, they'd be like, oh, cool.
Oh, you're in.
Yeah, exactly. Right away.
Exactly.
Yes. Obviously, you guys being out here in Nashville, walking around the city, seeing how everything is, comparatively to St. Louis, like, what is the club scene like out there?
It's tricky.
Okay.
So St. Louis doesn't have as many nightclubs. It's more about bars. Okay. It's a bar scene, and it's not as big as here, of course. Here you see a lot of traffic in the streets. In St. Louis, you don't see much traffic in the streets. So it's difficult to get people into businesses sometimes, unless you're doing like a big event, you're bringing a headliner out of town. It's difficult for people to go out But there's a scene, you know, it's just a little different than here, a little less energy.
St. Louis is a college. St. Louis is a college city.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have everything from like you have Lindenwood University, SLU. So there's a lot of colleges in the area, and even when those colleges they leave, like whenever they go on vacation, you still gotta think that all the people that go to like other universities, but they're from St. Louis, they come back
home.
And but that's the thing. After COVID and after the pandemic, I just think not a lot of venues were the same. Like St. Louis just kind of like became this very like dive bar or like driven, and the DJ is kind of like it's just there.
Yeah, where it's like their background music and not as much of like the party.
It's not. That's when it gets really tricky. Like about like we used to play every room in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like my goal. Like if I didn't have an out of town gig, I wanted my calendar to be like it didn't matter if I had 5 gigs at the same venue. I just wanted every day book, and I didn't care about the room because I knew it was going to be college and whatever. Now after like what we finally figure out is that a lot of these rooms, and I don't want to get canceled by this by the way, but a lot of these rooms. They don't really care what DJ is in the corner DJing. They just want that person working that night. So we were like, we're gonna go. Maybe now when we barely DJ St. Louis now. We have whenever we do DJ, and it's super small dive bars or like college bars. It's because those are the fun places.
Yeah.
It's so I hear all the time DJ Cass from Miami.
Yeah.
I hear him all the time say like on Twitter and on some other podcasts. You gotta play those rooms that are gonna keep you alive as a DJ.
Yeah.
You gotta go play those rooms that are gonna make you fall in love with this again, because you can get really burned out really fast. For us, we were burned out at one point. We got just tired of dealing with horrible management from some venues that they didn't respect us. So I told him, I even had a tweet that went viral about this. You gotta learn how to lose and how to like walk away from a residency to like grow in your career.
Yeah.
If you never lost a gig that was big for you, you're not growing. You're stuck in the same place. And a lot of people are like, oh, they're like, we post about it, but a lot of people are like, oh, they're playing a dive bar. Yeah, man, super fun dive bar. Like the energy's there. They take care of us. As a local rate, perfect. A lot of times it's dive bars, they close at 1:30. So I'm home by 2:30 sleeping.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's perfect deal for us.
We actually got a conversation. We were like, well, what do we want to do here in St. Louis? Do we want to, just get the money and get as many gigs as we can? And that's what we used to do.
Yeah.
But now it's like we just want to work with places that value us, and we feel like management wants us there, and we want to be there, and it's just a fun environment. And these places, they will take care of you. You know, if maybe at the beginning it wasn't the best rate, but you built a little relationship, and now we're getting paid sometimes more than we were in our other residencies.
Yeah,
that were
at
like
those small places.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the small places we're getting paid more than the 3 a.m. bar sometimes.
Yeah,
just because we have a good relationship, we make the bar good money, and
those owners, like, they know that we're traveling. Like, there's a small spot. Shout out to Tony's on Top on Main Street.
Beautiful
like
place.
Beautiful place, super small bar, only holds like 100 people.
Yeah.
Imagine a dive bar with 100 people and he has CDJ 3000s. That's how you
it's
know that the
great.
owner, he gets it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he just bought an A9. Like Brian,
yeah, it's top of the line lighting.
He's adding. So I'm like, this guy gets it.
You're investing in the business.
And I hate when he goes like, yeah, you guys are too big for my venue. And I was like, don't ever say that, man. I was like, man, first of all, I live right here in St. Charles, so I would love your venue because I'm 5 minutes away from your venue. So I'm like, this is like the perfect place for me. And then we go, you want to go where they want you.
See, and that's what I was going to say before, where it's like, I love a venue that wants you there. You're not just being booked to fill a time slot and just be a body that is playing music. You're there because that venue wants you there. You fit their direction and where they're looking to go. Yes, and that's one of the things that I wanted to hit on too, where it's like you're talking about losing some of these gigs, where now I feel like you guys are getting to the point where you have to look at like what venues are actually good for your brand and fit the direction that you guys want to go. Because I feel like it sucks to say, but a lot of these other bigger venues will see like where you're playing, and if it's not to the caliber that they are as another venue, like where Barstool is like,
100%.
all right, cool. Like, where else are they playing? Are they playing other stuff that is even
It aligns
on a
with
tier?
us.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
Are they the same quality of nightclub of
We
bar
are.
that
We lost residencies even out of town that they were
Yeah.
like high paying residencies in Atlanta, for example. Love the guys over there. Hospitality through the roof, but it was more like hip hop oriented. Like you gotta. It's like you said. You want to go in a room where you know that you're gonna be able to play it. And that's another advice for like any up and coming DJ that wants to like, oh, I want to travel, I want to leave my city and play over there. You better be ready when you walk in those rooms, because a lot of people think it's just, I'm just gonna go over there, hit play, and that's it. When you get a text out in the morning like, hey, like I need to bring it up, speed it up, like bottles are coming out, do this, do that, and you don't know what to do, like it gets really tricky fast. And if you're used to that local scene, like the bartender is your homie, and you're like calling him on the mic, and everything's just local. Like everybody's your friend. The manager is your friend. He's not gonna yell at you. These people don't know you in this market.
Yeah, it could kind of like hurt you getting used to that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's you might, if you go in a room that you just took that gig for money and you didn't fit that room, most likely you're not coming back. Half of the time, we took a gig, high paying gig. Very high paying gig, hotel, flights, everything.
Yeah.
And for like the fact that they booked the flight for us, that tells you right there, like they booked flights.
Yeah.
And not a lot of venues did that. Walked in the room, it wasn't what we expected. Like it was all like throwback R&Bs and like hip hop.
We went to like more open format, but it was just hip hop and R&B.
It was brutal, man. Like if you play Pepas in that room, nobody know. Like people were like smoking hookah, like they were not dancing.
But did they not communicate that with you guys like prior to the gig?
They did. Like so, I talked to the booking manager, and he saw his social media.
Yeah, like
he
he
should have
knows
been.
the style.
I don't
that
even
you
know
guys
what.
are.
To be completely honest, that's a mistake on his end as well.
Yeah.
Because if I was on his shoes, I would have never booked those.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you know what you're getting from you guys. Like they should know like the style of DJs that you guys are, because you're doing the booking. Like that's like me going to book some fucking dubstep artist at Barstool, knowing that it's not going to fit the crowd at all. Like I would never fucking do that.
That's literally it. And I mean, after that gig, we took a couple more, and then you quickly realize like, man, the money's good, but you're not having fun. And like most likely that venue is not gonna bring you back, because again, if you're killing it in the EDM scene or open format scene, and then you go in those rooms, like most likely you're not gonna be killing it in a genre that is not your genre.
Yeah.
Like
we can play it, but
he
not
learned how to DJ hip hop 3 years ago, and I'm bringing him into an all like most of the people in that room, they could have been his dad. Like they were old people. Like they were older people, and I was like, man, and it was brutal. It was like a light crowd, and I knew. And by the way, when we got done with the gig, we thought, oh, we're coming back. That's how naive sometimes we are as DJs. Later on, we think like, yeah, we don't need that gig anymore. But we thought, oh man, yeah, I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow to see if we can line up another gig. Yeah, I saw it on his face, man, on the booker's face at the end of the night. I don't ever want to see Robson Charles ever again. And again, it wasn't that we didn't mix correctly. Yeah. It was just that we're not that type of DJs, you know? I mean, I had the music. Like I could play the Afrobeat.
But it's like, do you even enjoy playing it though?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't mixed properly.
It was a long night.
Yeah.
Like usually when we DJ, even if we had to DJ like a longer set, it doesn't feel long. It's like, okay, we're having fun, we're drinking a little bit, we're talking. But that I remember that night felt like 10 hours. Yeah. And brutal. It was just not enjoyable. Yeah. Like I said, great money. But
yeah.
You gotta go.
Is it worth it though? Yeah.
I think you learn from that. Yeah. And I think especially now, he does most of the bookings, and he's got a good like sense of, we talk and it's like, these venues fit our brand, this is what we want to do. And we set ourselves goals. One of our goals was to get to Greenlight Social. Yeah. We've been talking for years.
We did the Austin one. Yeah. Our buddy Rec Shop.
Yeah.
We took him to St. Louis. We took him to St. Louis, and he gave us a shot over there at in the one in Austin. Yeah. And same thing, it's pretty much like a Barstool really, but like on a smaller scale. They go hard though.
Super hard.
Super hard for the size of that room.
Yeah.
But obviously the goal was it was Greenlight Social Dallas.
Yeah, the bigger one.
The bigger one. But man, he has friends who live in Dallas, and they're like, how the heck do you guys get in there? So man, right place, right time, and you follow up.
Yeah.
Like he comes back again. I tell him all the time. I was like, he's like, oh, they ask him like, how do you guys get those gigs? He always points at me, and I'm like, man, you only gotta really, really learn how to follow up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I watch videos about this. Like it might be videos about like people selling home security,
but
you can apply it.
Right.
You can apply it in your you can apply it into your life, whatever it is that you're doing. And this is gonna set us up for success for anything else that we do, because we obviously want to. We have other stuff that we do as DJs, like we throw events and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches you how to like negotiate with like venues and like how to negotiate just in your day to day, to whatever it is that you're gonna do in the future. We can't DJ till we're 80.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to put, like we put a business. We're gonna be able to, we're gonna learn about business and how to like communicate that.
Yeah. You hit on it before about talking about like Tony's in St. Louis, which is just like a local spot there, where then the owner's being like, oh, you guys are too big for me now. Do you guys ever look at it as like St. Louis is this market where maybe you guys are plateauing in that city, and do you look at, hey, do we make a move to another city that's music environment is a little bit more popping and could be better for you and your brand?
We definitely talked about it.
We've talked about it a lot. I think, so for me, St. Louis is home.
Yeah.
For me, St. Louis is home. I like the city. In my other job, I'm established there too. So, and I like St. Louis in general. Not everyone likes it, but I really enjoy my city.
Because we don't live in St. Louis. That's another thing.
That we don't live in the
St. Louis
city.
is the city where like all the nightlife is.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of other spots. Like there's St. Charles, Maryland Heights. Like we don't live where like when people hear St. Louis, a lot of times they think crime. Oh, crime,
Okay.
like dangerous and all this stuff.
No.
Like it's really not like that either. And then that's like if there is crime, that's downtown.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other neighborhoods. Like I live 30 minutes away from St. Louis.
Okay.
So that's the thing. Like you can actually have a good life in St. Louis, and you don't have to live downtown. But we talk about it a lot. But I do get the fact that he's a tennis coach. He's a director of a summer camp for this country club. So he has a lot of other stuff going on in his life. For me though, I keep telling him like I'm actually thinking about making a move with my wife, because like we don't have kids, and if I move into another city, I could actually DJ as Charles G, like maybe even like Monday through Wednesday, and I can still do the Robs and Charles do. I just meet you in the
travel.
I just meet you wherever.
That's
Yeah.
why we've been talking actually kind of lately.
Yeah.
Can do my own thing in St. Louis. Still
Yeah.
do the same rooms that we're doing just on myself. He can go somewhere else maybe, and then we meet up in the travels. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would kind of like scale. It would make it a little more exclusive too, because at that point, Robs and Charles is really just doing
Travel gig.
travel gigs.
Yeah.
We can focus more like probably getting on the phone or Zoom, like production wise, and like really scale the brand. But Nashville has been in my head for a minute actually.
Yeah.
Atlanta as well. I've been one of my buddies moved to Atlanta. And he's killing it. He's booked Diplo. Like,
Yeah.
like he's
Yeah,
huge over
he
there.
is booked Diplo.
Shout out to Bogey
Yeah.
over there in Atlanta. But it's definitely one of the things. But I want to tell you this though. When we started the duo, I started networking with like all these big guys, like all the big DJs, trying to connect with them as many as possible to like ask them questions. And the one guy that has always been super helpful to me at least is Chachi.
Yeah.
From 4am.
Yeah.
Shashi, like I remember when we first started to do, I asked him like, hey, do you think me or us living in St. Louis is holding me back? I asked that question 3 years ago. And he said, I don't know if St. Louis is holding you back, but I can tell you from what I can see and how the market works. Like he's booking his roster, he's handling Rick Wanders, and I think Shizu as well is in 4am.
Clutch, Icon.
Yeah,
there's a
Icon as
bunch
well.
of-
Exactly.
So he told me it's like from what I can see, it's not holding you back, but it's probably not helping you move forward.
See, and that's why I had to ask, because that's how I looked at it, where it's like, for me being in Milwaukee too, it's a smaller market city where it's like, me being out here in Nashville and then especially playing at like Whiskey Row and now being at Barstool and some of these other spots has opened more doors and more eyes for me too, where that's where I'm talking about, like, is it more beneficial for you guys as a DJ and your growth as a group, or even if you guys are going individually, where it's like, if we are in a New York, in a Nashville, in a Miami, in a Scottsdale, like in a LA, do you have more opportunity to grow and not plateau as those DJs?
And also, I think, like, especially at the beginning, it was super hard. Also, like, because when they don't know who you are, like if a booker doesn't, where are you based out of? Whenever they hear, I just think it sounds cool. You know, I'm from New York. Well, I'm from LA,
I'm from Miami.
Vegas, Miami. I'm from St. Louis. Like, not to talk bad about St. Louis, because again, I love St. Louis, and St. Louis gave me the opportunity. I already did the touring, by the way, like as an individual. When I used to work radio, I already did the touring like by myself. Like my old Instagram got hacked, like 25,000 followers. Like I already, like the Charles G Instagram, still out there, by the way.
Yeah.
As DJ Charles G, you can look it up. Hacker, man, I still remember I cried, man, that day. I was like, man, it's over. I might as well just give up now.
Yeah.
But I already did the touring by myself. But I just think, like, as Robs and Charles, I never done like this kind of touring.
Yeah.
Like playing, like, I keep telling him, like, it blows my mind because I follow all of them. I follow, you know, Fate, like Five and Eric Deluxe, follow Chashi. I follow Rick Wonder, a beat breaker. I used to listen to all their mixes back home in Panama because I just love the open format scene. And to go from Panama to tour here in the U.S. and play those rooms that those guys are playing, it blew my mind. Like I told him yesterday when we were driving here, I was like, man, it really, I could have done the touring, like back home. Like I remember like 8 years ago, I opened up for Maluma, the reggaeton artist, like 10,000 people. Even that doesn't go not nearly as close with this. To me, it's like St. Louis, it's more, I still think the city is it should not hold you back.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like if I move maybe, and it will also like open a whole like whole new demographic. Like move to Miami, I'm gonna meet all these people in Miami. Like I don't know.
I feel like you might even change DJing though too, because then it's like, all right, cool. Now you're playing an entire different vibe of music because this crowd is different than it is in St. Louis. So even that can help you as a DJ, where you're like, fuck, now I might change my style. I might learn how to play these genres, or not even like that.
Go back to my roots, you know, kind of like back home in Panama.
You can start adding more shit into your sets, and it changes like the way that you arrange your sets too. So, but like, I don't know if you guys saw on Strategy's most recent episode, he had White Shadow, who produced fucking a bunch of shit. Grammy-nominated producer, does a whole bunch of shit for Lady Gaga.
Is this the guy that threw the CDJ?
Yeah. But he talked about how when he was in Chicago, he's from Chicago, like came up there, he got so sick of like them bringing in all these other DJs from out of town, paying them thousands and thousands more than he was getting when he was like a better DJ, where he started telling people that he was from LA, and he's like, bro, he's like, my rate went up. Like,
no way.
I did saw that.
I
did saw that.
That's crazy.
Where like when people would book him, he'd be like, oh yeah, I live in LA, I DJ out in LA. Where he would go out and stay on like Stone Rock, who's Stone Rock's a fucking OG, and he would like be out there for like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then fly out to wherever on like Fridays and Saturdays, and became an LA DJ. Where then people were willing to pay him more just because of that, versus being like, oh, we're St. Louis DJs, and it doesn't have the same kind of.
It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that sexy factor. That's what Chaz said. It doesn't have that sexy factor. Like it's not a very. It's like not a lot of people go there to like do tourism and stuff like that. But it's like he says, for St. Louis is home.
It's home, yeah.
And it will always be like. I mean, we have so many people and so many good relationships. I don't know if it's in the near future or not, but we definitely have talked a lot about it. We definitely have talked a lot about moving.
Well, let's get into some of these rapid fire questions I got set for you, and then we'll get you guys on your way here. So,
sounds good.
As of right now, what is both of your favorite gigs that you guys have ever played?
For me, I really like Barstools.
Okay.
Barstools really fun crowd, but we love DC.
Yeah.
Washington, D.C. I think that's the gig that we've gone the most. Like we've been there 9, probably 10 times. And
What about any of like the festival sets? Like, because you guys have done like show sets too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy them a lot.
Yeah.
I like more like EDM stuff, like jumping up and down, stuff like that. So yeah, that New Year's that he was talking about that we closed for Morgan Page.
Okay.
It was in St. Charles.
Yeah.
And I think that gig changed some things for us.
Okay.
Because literally we closed down. Morgan Page forgot to say Happy New Year.
He forgot this. He told me, he's like, I forgot to say Happy New Year. So
And it was 1:30 a.m.
just grab. That's the first thing you should do. He said to me that, and I go, you didn't say Happy New Year on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Or sorry, on New Year's night. So I like grabbed the mic on the intro. We play like a Titanium intro.
Yeah.
with Boo, yeah.
And then and I just kind of went all like,
Should have dropped the countdown or something.
I know.
man, when I say Happy New Year, people were like, oh, it's already New Year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's one of the sets that I've enjoyed the most. That New Year's 2021 maybe something like that. But yeah, definitely, Barstools have a place in my heart.
Yeah.
Especially for clubs.
For me, I think we did the support for Mardi. We played Mardi Gras, which is the second biggest Mardi Gras in the country, and we opened for James Hype.
Okay.
So we got to play in St. Louis for the first time for like 6,000 people.
Damn. It's just a big festival in St. Louis for
Yeah,
it?
Mardi Gras.
It's called the F and Tent. It's with F and vodka.
Yeah, vodka, yeah.
And we got the call. A shout out to DJ Gorda from Chicago.
Yeah.
And Nathan Scott and Beanie Vibe.
Yeah.
Because
they all ran it? Hell yeah.
Yes.
So they were handling like the bookings and all that.
Gordo's the homie, man.
Gordo's the homie.
He's the
homie,
best, man.
He put us in Chicago the right way.
Yeah.
We had a bad experience before, and then we met him, and
He's a fucking OG
He's
that does
amazing.
it all. And
that gig,
he's
I mean-
the nicest dude ever, bro.
yeah, super nice.
Yeah.
Super nice to everyone.
Yeah.
To everyone.
Yeah.
He really is to everyone.
Yeah.
So that James Hype, it was Medusa too.
Yeah, it was James Hype and Medusa.
Yes.
Okay.
So we got to play
was
with
really
them.
fun.
And the fact that I liked it a lot because it was the first time in St. Louis that we get to do something major like that.
Yeah.
We opened for other artists like in Lake of the Ozarks, but it's maybe 1,000 people, 500 people. You can play that in a nightclub.
Yeah.
Now when you go up, I did that back home again for like reggaeton artists. So doing it in St. Louis and for an art like James Hype,
It was
we got
special.
to meet James Hype.
Yeah.
Super cool guy. Super
Super
cool.
cool.
I didn't believe how we were just talking. I went backstage. I asked him some questions, and like he was talking back, and not only replying, he was like engaging. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so
Super
cool.
humble dude.
Yeah.
We met his manager.
He looks that way on like social media, and I think it's just because like how he came up, where it's like he was a DJ that was fucking grinding. Like
Yeah.
it's not like he just blew up overnight from social media or something like
Exactly.
that. Like he was somebody that was literally grinding, and now he is where he is still.
Yeah,
So that would be
absolutely.
a fucking sick one. Yeah.
Oh
for
man,
Sure.
yeah, it was crazy. It was hard to stay in the BPMs though. That was one of
Yeah.
the first shows that we had to stay 126.
It's the only
Oh,
show
yeah,
that
yeah.
we have in our entire, like since we started to do it, that we actually, it wasn't a pre-recorded mix, but we knew exactly what song was gonna. It was
Yeah, we can
quick
actually
mix.
plan a set. Yeah.
It was
First time ever and only
32
we-
minutes
yeah.
long, and it was like I remember like when I played my last song, it was like the "Sex Is on Fire" that edit
Yeah.
from
Wesh?
Wesh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
was like,
turned
I
around.
know exactly
So
what that is.
fire.
Yeah.
Man, imagine 6,000 people just going at it with us.
What?
Singing it, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it was.
I remember, but that was my last song on my crate. I didn't want to play anything else because it was. I turned around, I'm like looking for Nathan Scott, like somebody going on now because
Yeah.
that's like it's gonna run out. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was my favorite.
You know,
Yeah.
to be fair, yeah, it gives me goosebumps right now just
Yeah.
from reminding that day. Yeah.
Well, let's get into some fun ones, some duo ones. Who's the more organized of the group?
Bro, you need to
Just
see my,
immediately.
You need to see my laptop, man. My laptop.
Yeah. Mess?
It's a mess, but it's a mess that I can understand.
Only him.
Okay.
Only myself. I mean, if someone hacks
Organized
me,
chaos, we call
yeah,
it. Yeah.
exactly. If someone
Yeah.
hacks me or something, they're not getting my songs. They're not getting my shit.
Who's the bigger spender on the road?
Him.
Okay.
Yep.
Who's the bigger drinker during the sets?
That's very equal, man.
Okay.
They always bring in two.
They always bring it. They bring 2 high noons like that.
Yeah.
So it's
or 2 Crown Royals. Which
2 Crown Royals.
Everything.
But it's very balanced. Maybe at the end of the night, I'll have one more, or he will have one more. But pretty even.
Who's picking the first track of the night?
Most of the time him, but sometimes I do. Depends sometimes where the USB of the other DJ is.
Okay.
So it depends.
Because I gotta go on the ride.
Yeah, he needs to.
So if it's open, it's me.
And we don't have the same music, so like whatever he has is his own library. I have my own library. We don't share. So it's,
really okay.
Yeah. So I play my own stuff. He plays his own stuff. One song.
Who is more likely to play a track out of left field, like a crazy editor remix?
Well, not editor, original.
Okay.
Yeah. I threw All I Want for Christmas in Washington D.C. Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
In March.
In March.
That's what my buddy Sopa will do, bro. He'll drop it in the middle of summer, and people will go crazy. Like,
Well, that's the thing. He went crazy, and I got a text the next day from the booker and said, "Hey, man, you guys destroyed it.
You're coming back.
You're coming back, but Jason says no Christmas music, please." That's what he said to me.
Love it, man. Well, yeah. Last thing I got to do here, something I do on every episode, is have the guest put somebody on a platform. So it can be a person, a brand, venue you guys love, a local spot. Just put somebody for these listeners, these viewers to go check out, shine a little spotlight on them.
So we thought about this question for a minute.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people that we owe, and we owe them a lot, like, because they kind of help us. But I think the one person that really switched our mindset into, like, and he's doing super amazing stuff with, like, production, touring, and playing dope venues. Our boy Purari.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
He a bunch of his edits.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I play them all the time, like hardcore stuff, big room.
Yeah.
And he really helped us. We went to St. Louis for a gig that he got booked. We opened for him, and we had like a 2-hour dinner. Really took the time to, like, explain me what out of town gigs was, and like rates and like what not to do and all that. Mm-hmm. After that, that's kind of like,
and music too. He was like, well, if you want to start getting booked here, you gotta start putting more music. Like back then, we didn't have a single remix,
edit,
remix or edit. It's like, what are you guys doing to get booked there? Like, you need to start putting more music. And I'm not saying like original, I'm saying like edits that other DJs can play. So he opened up a lot of things for us that we didn't think before.
We didn't even think that was an option. Like, we really didn't think that was an option. He said, "Of course it's an option, man."
Yeah.
He goes, like, look at all these duos, like Twin Sick. All these guys are blowing up because they're putting their edits out there.
Putting content of them
putting
playing
content
their
out.
edits.
So I was like, do your thing. And I mean, Purari definitely. And it's not like, by the way, it's not like we speak every single week or anything like that. But I think if it wasn't for Purari, we probably would still be playing locally in St. Louis.
100%.
So definitely check out Purari.
Yeah. We'll get them all tagged in there because that's definitely somebody that I follow too.
Yeah.
So.
Amazing guy.
Well, anything else you guys got left that you need to plug? Upcoming shows, new edits, new remixes.
October 5th, we're back in Barstool.
Okay.
Yes, really excited, and we're really happy that you got us here.
Yeah.
We've been a fan of this podcast for a while, and
love it, man.
It's our first podcast.
I owe you a mix, by the way.
Really?
We never done a podcast before.
Yeah,
that.
we've never done a podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure. It's been great.
Let's get you locked in a date for the mix too.
I don't know if you remember, like, I had to cancel it. I don't know what happened. I had to cancel it, but I owe you a mix. We owe you a mix. We gotta do a mix for the
100%.
platform.
Love it, man.
Yes.
Well, viewers, listeners, make sure you guys are subscribed on YouTube, follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go follow Robson Charles. I'll put all of their info in the description so you guys can go check them out on Instagram. Check out where they're playing these next upcoming shows, and hit on the DJ mixes. The platform mixes come out every Monday. DJ mixes from people all over the world, hour long. They can get you through those gym workouts, driving, anything like that. I'm DJ Dex. Make sure you follow me on the socials. One more time, thank you guys for taking the time to sit here.
Bro.
Thank you,
get
bro.
your story out. So we'll see you
great.
guys next Wednesday. Peace. Check. Mic check. 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?